Hey guys, if you're interested in any figures or figure accessories that I have currently up for sale, go ahead and send me an email. Just go to my channel page on YouTube and go to the About section, click on that, and you'll be able to get in touch with me. How's it going, my fellow collectors? I am back again for another 1/6 scale figure review. And this time we're going to be taking a look at the Present Toys Flight Officer, aka Ellen Ripley from the movie Aliens. And as most of you know, this is a third-party figure. This isn't officially licensed, hence the name Flight Officer. So we're going to start this review off as usual with the source information. And I did cover my thoughts on the movie during the review of the Hot Toys Alien Warrior. So if you guys want to check that out, you're welcome to. It is on my channel. But it was a while ago, so I'll go over a little bit of the movie. There will be some spoilers, just so you guys know, so if you want to skip ahead, you're welcome to do that. So basically, the Weyland-Yutani Corporation wants to go back to the planet where they found the alien specimen from the first movie. And they convince Ripley that if they find the alien specimens and the hive and all that, that it's for extermination. That they're gonna kill them all so they don't spread to other planets. So she signs up for it, but Weyland-Yutani, their hidden agenda is to capture some specimens of the aliens so they can make weapons out of them, basically, to serve their own purposes. Maybe they want to weaponize it for military use, I'm not very sure. So she ends up teaming up with the Colonial Marines, who are also kept in the dark about the real nature of the mission. So they end up finding the sole survivor, who is one little girl named Newt, and they also find the nest of the aliens. And eventually, by the end of the movie, they end up finding the queen of the aliens. The one that's been laying all the eggs and created the hive, basically. Newt ends up being separated from the group and then ends up being abducted by an alien and brought back to the hive. And this look of this figure is supposed to represent when Ripley decides to take things into her own hands and go and rescue Newt. So she straps herself up full of all the weapons and heads into the hive. So there is a lot of talk among Alien fans of which is the better movie between Alien and Aliens. Honestly, I can't decide. I like them both equally. So that's why I'm going to give the category of source information a 10 out of 10. Alright, so that covers the category of source information. Now we're going to move on to packaging. Okay, so now we've made it to the category of packaging. And you know, it's basic Present Toys fashion. You got an image of Sigourney Weaver here on the front and center, but they decided to put a face hugger over her face. I believe it's due to licensing. They don't want to get in trouble, so they have to cover her face. And on the bottom it says Flight Officer, and right below that you get this design that kind of looks like DNA strands. That's what they look like to me. I might be wrong, but anyway. The whole front picture is in this red striped pattern. Even the picture itself, it's an interesting design. And on one side, the stripes continue and you get the Present Toys logo. And also the DNA strands wrap around the side on the bottom. On the other side, it's the same thing. And on the top, it says Flight Officer. On the bottom, again, Flight Officer. And on the back, you get your warnings and choking hazards that nobody really reads. And I believe that people always find funny misspellings when it comes to the warnings and choking hazards that Present Toys put on their boxes. So if you want to pause it and find some, you're welcome to it. Then it says made in China, and then you get the designation number for this figure, and it says 1/6 scale collectible figure. And this box does have a sleeve, so let me just remove that. So once you remove that, you get an actual picture of Sigourney Weaver. This isn't a picture of the figure. I guess Present Toys felt more safe showing her face here since it's covered by the sleeve. And as you can see, she is in the hive surrounded by alien eggs. And then you have all the aliens hiding right above her on the ceiling. So that's cool. And then on one side, you get more aliens on the ceiling. It says Present Toys, and then on the bottom, you get more alien eggs. And on the other side, it's pretty much the same thing. And on the back, you get a full picture of an alien. And then you get more warnings and choking hazards on the bottom. In the background, you see more eggs. And it's pretty much the same thing as what the sleeve said on the back. And that's pretty much it. There's no window displaying the figure on this box. All in all, very good packaging. The design and everything is excellent. So I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 for packaging. Alright, so that does it for packaging. Now we're going to move on to the next category. Alright, so now we've made it to the category of likeness. And I got to tell you guys, there's been a lot of collectors saying that, oh, this isn't as good as the Hot Toys Ellen Ripley. And, oh, it doesn't have a great likeness to Sigourney Weaver. And while I do agree that this doesn't have as good a likeness to the Hot Toys Ellen Ripley, this one is no slouch either. I believe that this one has a very good likeness to Sigourney Weaver. When the prototype pictures of the Present Toys flight officer came out, let's face the facts, guys, it was really bad. It didn't look nothing like Ripley, and that's pretty much the reason why I decided not to pre-order it when it was announced. My thoughts were, I'm not going to get that. It looks like it's going to be a really bad figure. That's exactly what I was thinking when I saw the pre-order go up. And after a year or two had passed, and after the first YouTuber started to review it, I was very pleasantly surprised when I got a good look at the final product, because this sculpt is very, very good. I'd say 90 to 95% accurate to Sigourney Weaver and how she looked at that time. But before I go any further in this review, there's something that I have to tell you guys. This isn't 100% stock out of the box. I did a lot of customizations and modifications to this figure. Before we move further with this review, I have to address that. That's the reason why when I did the top 7 figures of 2024, I had this figure listed on that list, but I didn't show it off. And the reason for that is because I was in the middle of modifying and customizing this figure. It wasn't ready yet. But now it's ready, so breathe it all in, guys. I'm going to run you guys through everything I did, and since we're on the subject of likeness, I think it's appropriate. The best place to start is the head sculpt. If you guys want to see what this figure looks like stock out of the box, there's plenty of reviewers that have already reviewed this figure on YouTube, so go check that out. But the head sculpt, what I did was I added the cuts that she had in the movie on both cheeks. I added it to this figure. So you see that one there. And then this one over here. And I also added sweat droplets all throughout her face. You can't see them unless you catch the light at a certain angle, which is good. That's how real sweat reacts to light. So right here, for example, you see 2 drops of sweat on the temple of her head. And then there's some running down her cheek. And there's another one on the left side of the back of her neck, but you can't really see it right now because she's in a dynamic pose at the moment that I don't want to mess up. I'll show you guys that in the next category. So I did all those modifications to the head sculpt, and the next big thing that I did was I gave her a brand new body. And that's the major thing that I was waiting for, because the stock body was way too small. it was way out of proportion to what Sigourney Weaver actually looks like, because her actual height is 5 feet 11 inches, and that's pretty tall for being a woman. So the present toy's stock body was way too small, and on top of that, it's too skinny too. So those are two things that are wrong with it. The other thing that I really didn't like was that it had rubber arms, or it has rubber arms, and the torso is rubber too, but it was pretty bad quality. The arms had flaps on the wrists, and there was also seam lines running on both arms from the wrist to the shoulder, and all of that is just very unsightly. So those were things that I hated, all of that. So I desperately needed a new body. So what I did was I went ahead and bought a Resident Evil 2 Claire Redfield Damn Toys body, which is what you see here. And when I got it, for the most part, it fit with all the present toys parts. Like the boots, for example, they were a perfect fit with this body. All the hands are Claire Redfield Damn Toys body. And I was thinking about adding some ankle extenders to make her a little bit taller, but I think she's tall enough. I think this is good. So I think I'm just going to leave her like she is now. The major issue that I had with this body was that it wasn't very compatible with the head sculpt. It didn't sit correctly on the neck. The ball peg for the neck, it fit well enough, like it could go into the ball socket of the head sculpt. There was no problems there, but the problem was that she suffered basically from giraffe neck. Her neck was way too long, so I had to modify that. And since the neck is made of rubber, what I did was I took a heat gun and heated it up so I can make the rubber soft enough, and I took an X-Acto knife and just cut a piece of the neck off. And I also sawed the ball joint off as well. So right now the head is just sitting on the neck, but that's okay because it's a pretty tight fit. So if I were to shake the figure or turn it upside down, it wouldn't fall off. The head sculpt, I mean. It sits pretty tightly on there. But yeah, she looks normal now. She doesn't have that giraffe neck anymore. As you can see, she looks really good. Now, you probably can't tell from this lighting, but the skin on the head sculpt is just a shade darker than the rest of the body. So that is one thing to be aware of if you guys plan on doing a modification like mine. And the last customization that I did to this figure was that I got her a watch. As you can see, she did wear a Seiko watch on the movie. And I tried to get the most accurate one I could find on the movie. So, I just bought this watch on eBay. And it wasn't a perfect fit either, because I believe this watch isn't meant for female figures, because it belongs to a male figure. So it was kind of big and kind of loose on her wrist. So I had to tighten it a little more than usual. And this watch isn't made for that, but it's okay because it's made of rubber or a soft plastic. So I just pulled it a little harder than usual, and it got the watch to fit perfectly on the wrist. So yeah, that's the last modification that I did on this figure. But while we're on the subject of the likeness of this figure, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. With present toys, it can be a hit or a miss. And most of the time, it's a miss with present toys when it comes to head sculpts. But I think this time they nailed it pretty good. So yeah, I think it deserves a 9 out of 10. So let me talk you guys through this pose real quick. This is based off the scene where she finds Newt in the hive and she's beginning to exterminate all the aliens and alien eggs in the nest right after she encounters the queen. Alright guys, so that does it for the likeness category. Now we're going to move on to the next. Alright, so now we've made it to the category of outfit. And I gotta say that Present Toys really knocked it out of the park with this outfit. because they did something that Hot Toys got wrong and they corrected it. And I put the figure in a pose straight up and down so it could show off the outfit a lot more. And there's something that I forgot to mention in the last category when I was talking about the modifications that I did to this figure. I added an extra layer of gloss to the alien egg, so it looks a lot more shinier and slimier, which is what it's supposed to look like. So yeah, I'm really happy with how that came out. And I also did the same thing to the face hugger. I added an extra layer of gloss to that, so that looks slimy too. So yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out. Alright, so let's get back to the outfit. Starting from the top and working our way down. We'll start off with the bandolier. You can remove it if you want, and you can also remove the grenades on it. And it is made of a cloth material, so that's good. I don't have to worry about pleather flaking on me. It reassures me that this bandolier is going to last forever. And also the harness that she's wearing, these two straps, she also has grenades on those. I removed 2 grenades from each strap. In the movie, she only has 3 on each side, and the rest of the straps don't have any loops. Yeah, the one on the movie doesn't have 5 loops on each strap. It only has 3. There's one collector that I saw on YouTube that cut those loops off, but I'm not going to do that. I found it sufficient enough just to remove the grenades. That's all you really need to do. And she also comes with her plain white t-shirt as well. And there is some weathering that has been added to it. There are collectors that have talked about adding extra weathering to the shirt because it was pretty dirty in the movie. But I think with the weathering it has, I think that's good enough. Oh, and while we're looking at her back, let me show you guys the extra drop of sweat that I added to the back of her neck. That's what I was trying to show you guys earlier, but I couldn't because of the pose she was in. And here's the back of the harness and the back of the bandolier as well. Very nice. So yeah, I don't plan on adding extra weathering to this shirt. I think it's fine the way it is. And she also comes with this cloth belt. There are a lot of collectors out there, hardcore fans of aliens, that are saying that this belt is inaccurate. Although I don't remember what it was that was inaccurate about it. I do remember that these baby blue pants had smaller belts, belt loops and straps, and clasps that you would use to loop the belt around. So these pants, they don't have that. So yeah, that is an inaccuracy. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. And speaking of the pants, they are a cloth material and there's been minor weathering added to it. Just like the shirt, it's minor, but it's there. And I don't plan on adding any more weathering to it. And this is the inaccuracy that Hot Toys did that I was talking about earlier. These pockets that you see here, both of these pockets are accurate to how they're supposed to look in the movie. The one on her right thigh being horizontal and the one on her left thigh being vertical. Hot Toys didn't do that with her pants. They were both horizontal. Now, the belt loops that I was talking about earlier, Hot Toys got that right because that is screen accurate, but they got the pockets wrong. So, you know, it's a give and take. And I don't remember if Hot Toys had this pocket that's closer to her ankle or not. But Present Toys does have it and it is accurate. So that's good. So really good that they managed to get all that. And as I said before, I did get this watch separately. Because like I said before, she does wear a Seiko watch in the movie. So I did get her that, and now I think she's a lot more accurate to how she looked in the movie. Like I said before, I had to tighten it real good so it fits her. And let me just show you guys the back of her pants. Real nice. No pockets on the back of her pants, which is accurate. Now we're going to roll on down to her boots. Now, these are mostly accurate. There's not a lot of weathering going on. Just like with the pants and the shirt, there's minor weathering, not a lot. The biggest inaccuracy with these boots are the brand name. which is supposed to say Reebok on them. So that's what's missing, and instead of that, it says Ripley. So basically, here, where it's supposed to be the Velcro strap, it says Ripley there, it says Ripley on this gray strap here, and it also says Ripley on the top of the tongue. And I think this is the futuristic Reebok logo that was presented in the movie. So I guess they got away with that, I don't know. But I mean, if you're gonna have the actual logo on there, you might as well just go the whole 9 yards and put the brand name Reebok on there. But it's whatever. I don't understand these companies. Anyway, so same thing on the other boot. It says Ripley all throughout her shoe. It's the same thing with the Prime 1 statue that they made of Ripley. It just says her name on her shoes. It doesn't have the Reebok brand on it. Due to licensing issues, they didn't let them use the brand name, or maybe they didn't even ask. I don't know. Anyway, the big issue that I have with these boots is that they recasted the left boot to make the right boot. And that is just so stupid, in my opinion. It's really lazy on Present Toys' part. Because you can tell, I mean, look at this. Her name is written backwards 3 times. As you can see, really lazy on Present Toys' part. They should have just took the time and made actually sculpted the right boot properly, you know? Instead of just making one boot and then recasting the other. And that's pretty much it for the outfit. Oh, there's one other thing that I forgot to mention. The grenades, they're not 100% accurate to the movie. These look more like shotgun shells. The Hot Toys version of this figure, I believe it's the MMS 22. That one has 100% accurate grenades to what it looked like in the movie. But other than that, that's it for the category of outfit. So there are many inaccuracies and inconsistencies on this outfit, all throughout it. So because of that, I'm going to have to dock some points and give it a 8 out of 10. I mean, I did have to buy the watch separately. It could have at least come with that. Alright, so there you go. That does it for the category of outfit. Now we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, so now we've made it to the category of articulation, and as usual, we're going to start from the top and work our way to the bottom. And as I already mentioned before, I did replace the Present Toys stock body with a Damn Toys Claire Redfield body. The original stock body had double bend elbows. The torso and the arms were all made of rubber. They were semi-seamless. There were seams on the shoulders, on the wrists, and on the abs. But you couldn't see the seams on the shoulders or the seam running across the abs. So like I said, that body did have double bend elbows. But yeah, I had to switch it out because I don't trust the rubber on that body. It just seems very cheap to me. It didn't look very high quality. So I didn't have very much faith that it would last very long. I think it would have deteriorated with the years passing by. So that's why I went ahead and replaced it with a body that had seams, because this way it'll last me a long time. And that's what led me to get this body. I was going to get a female World Box body, but they didn't really have what I was looking for. And another thing that could have presented a problem is that that type of body didn't have ball pegs for the ankles. Instead, it had ankle pegs, like posts, basically. So I didn't think it would be compatible with the Present Toys boots. So we're going to talk about the articulation for this particular body, the Claire Redfield body. And you guys do know that I reviewed the Resident Evil 2 remake Claire Redfield figure. And I did go over the articulation with her on that review, so it's going to be pretty similar. And like I said before, I did modify the neck so it would be shorter. And she can look up and down pretty good, but you don't want to go too far up or down because then you expose the gap in between the neck and the head. And it doesn't look very good if you expose it. You get a full rotation, 360 degrees all the way around. And she's got somewhat of a shoulder shrug. The butterfly joints as well, they're pretty good. The right shoulder is very stiff. I managed to loosen it up just a little bit, but it's still very, very tight. There was a moment where the arm came off the torso, but fortunately it wasn't broken or anything. I just pegged it back on because it is a ball and socket joint. So luckily there wasn't any real problem there, other than it being really stiff and tight. I'm just going to have to keep articulating it so it can loosen up more. Working our way down to the elbows. This body has single bend elbows, but it's okay because I'd rather have that than have the ugly double jointed elbows that most figures have. It's better looking this way given the fact that she wears a short sleeve shirt. And she's also got a swivel at the elbow as well. So you can pretty much do a 360 degree all the way around at the elbow. Moving on down, she's got typical female wrist joints. The wrist pegs are cut at a diagonal angle. I don't understand why figure companies keep doing that and they can't just make it a straight cut through the wrist peg instead of having a diagonal angle. Just like with male figures, I don't know why the female figures have to have a diagonal cut. But I digress. She's also got good ab crunch. She leans forward, backward, and side to side really well. The waist swivel isn't so good. She can turn just a couple degrees left and right. I don't believe she has any waist bend, so she can't crunch at the waist. Working our way down from there to the crotch. This is where it starts to suffer a little bit. She doesn't kick forward too much. I believe that there is only a single joint that connects from the leg to the hip. She kicks maybe a little less than 45 degrees. She doesn't do the splits very good either, kinda hindered by the pants. And she doesn't have any thigh swivel either. You could probably swivel them less than an inch. When we get to the knees, they are single bend. So yeah, they don't bend very far either. And finally, the feet. There is zero articulation at the ankles. The only thing you can do is swivel, and that's it. That's how it was with the stock body as well, the present toys. These boots are made of what looks like very hard plastic. I think that's another failure on Present Toys' part. I think they should have incorporated a boot cut design to allow for more articulation. Present Toys has never been good at sculpting the feet, and they've never been known for good feet articulation. They just always sculpt a hard plastic shoe or boot for whatever figure. It was like that with the Blade Warrior figure. They barely have any articulation at all. And they did it again with this figure, so I don't really like these boots that much. Because like I said before, they recasted the right boot. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the articulation. I'm going to give it the same score as what I gave the Resident Evil 2 Claire Redfield figure on the articulation. I gave it a 7, so that's what I'm going to give this Ripley, a 7. Maybe the Claire Redfield figure is hindered a little bit more because of the different outfit that she has compared to Ripley, but still, it's mostly the same. And that figure has zero articulation on the boots as well, so there you go. That's why it gets the same score. So here I have her in this pose where she's wasting an alien warrior. Alright, so that does it for the category of articulation. Now we're going to move on to the next. Okay, so now we've made it to the final category, which is accessories. And currently I don't know how I feel about these accessories. I'll run them down as usual, and we'll see how I feel at the end of this category. Because I think that'll help me make an informed opinion about these accessories. So we'll start off with the hands as usual. Stock out of the box, it comes with 8 hands 4 of them are gloved and 4 of them are ungloved. And these are some of the stock hands. These are the gloved relaxed hands, and they have decent quality. The biggest complaint that I have about all of these stock hands are that they're too small, too petite. That gives you an idea of how small the body is. Yeah, the size of the body is very small, like I said before. Then you get a pair of trigger finger hands, so you can hold her weapons in her right or left hand. And then she also comes with a pair of gun holding hands and relaxed hands that are ungloved, but I don't have them here. I left them in the box. They're pretty much the same as these, except that they're ungloved. And they're the same size as these gloved hands too, so. But since I got the Resident Evil 2 Claire Redfield body, she comes with an extra set of her own hands. And if I put them right next to each other, you can tell how big they are compared to the stock original hands. So these bare hands are true 1/6 scale. So yeah, she comes with a pair of kind of open palmed hands, like cradling hands, I guess you could say. And she also comes with 2 hands for gripping, one with the thumb extended and the other one with the thumb lowered. She also comes with 1 right trigger finger hand, and the other hand used for cradling rifles and such. Moving on to her weapons, we get the M41A pulse rifle with a pump action 30mm grenade launcher mounted underneath the barrel. That is famously used on the movie Aliens, and it's really nice. It's got nice paint applications. It's got good weathering on it. You can see the readout right here of how much ammo you have left. I really like it. She's also got the tracker on the top that she uses to track Newt's location. Because if you remember, Ripley gives Newt a watch, and it's pretty much a beacon of letting Ripley know of Newt's location at all times. So when she goes missing, Ripley decides to tape the tracker to the rifle so she could figure out where she is. So really great. The only problems that I have with the rifle is that it's got no articulation except for the pump action for the grenade launcher. You can't take the magazine out. The lever used for chambering rifle rounds, that doesn't move at all. So this is the only thing that moves is the pump of the grenade launcher, like I said. The stock doesn't extend either, and there's no loops to attach the extra strap that the accessories come with. So if you wanted to attach that strap to this rifle, you can't do it because there's no loops. So it's kind of useless that they gave us an extra strap, which is right here. This is what you would use if the rifle had any loops to attach it to. But whatever, that's pretty much it for the rifle. Now we'll move on to her second weapon. Here we have the M240 flamethrower. Everything I said about the pulse rifle, I'm going to say about this flamethrower. It's got good paint apps and good weathering, real good. And it's got something that the pulse rifle doesn't. It does have loops that you can feed the strap through, but it's pointless because it already has a strap attached to it. Again, I'm confused. Why give us strap loops if it already has a strap attached to it? Again, with this flamethrower, it has 0 articulation. You can't take the tank off, the liquid fuel tank. You can't extend the stock. It's a nice design and all, but there's 0 articulation. And I know Present Toys can do it because they've done it before with the Blade Warrior figure. All the guns that came with that figure had all the articulation. You could take the magazines out. You can cock the hammers. You can slide the chambers. So I think it's just Present Toys being lazy again. Anyway, as you can see, I did attach the 2 weapons together. It comes with this rubber band that's used to bundle up the extra strap. but I took it off and I used it to attach the two stocks together. And that's what a lot of other collectors did with this rubber band as well. And the mistake that I see commonly made with collectors is that they use this extra strap to tie the two barrels in the front together. And that's not accurate. In the movie, what Ripley did was she tied the strap in a loop around the barrel of the flamethrower, and the strap had a hook at the end that she used to hook onto a loop on the rifle, on the pulse rifle. And if you notice here on the end of the barrel, there's a bump on the side on the top of the barrel of the pulse rifle. That is supposed to be a strap loop where you can attach the strap, or where you can attach the hook of the strap to. And that's how you're supposed to attach the two barrels together. But I don't understand present toys. They decided to nail the strap underneath the barrel of the flamethrower. And that's totally inaccurate. I don't know. So what I did was I took some sticky tack and put it on the barrels and attached it that way. It just stuck them together. I did it that way because that's the most accurate I could get it to look. So there you go, those are the weapons. She also comes with this satchel here. It's pure cloth and so is the strap. The buckles and hooks appear to be metal, and you can open it up if you want. And as you can see, it does have a foam square in there to make it look like it's got equipment, like the flares and such that she had in the movie. I went ahead and put the 4 extra grenades that she had on her harness. I put those in here for safe keeping, and you can close it via Velcro. And it's got an extra pocket on the side that you can open too, and it also has a little tiny styrofoam block to make it look like it's bulging. So yeah, that's real nice, and it is screen accurate because she did carry it in the movie. Like I said, she did use it to carry the flares. We also have the face hugger, and I think they did really well. They might have gone a little too heavy with the paint on the knuckles. I don't really like those stripes. They're a little bit too thick. They should have been a little bit thinner. Other than that, I don't see any real problems with it. I think it was done really well. It's even got the fingernails at the end, which I didn't know that facehuggers had. That's kind of cool. The air sacs that it has in the midsection, that's pretty cool. And then you have the insides of the facehugger too, where it extends the proboscis that shoves down your throat to impregnate you. The tail is done really well as well. My only nitpick with the tail is that it should have been bendable. Like it should have been kind of like a soft rubber or plastic with a wire inside that you could use to bend it. That would have been cool. But instead they went with this hard plastic. And they could have done the same thing with the fingers as well, made them bendable. Because that way you could have wrapped them around any figure's face to make it look like it's wrapped around their head. And like I said before, I did take the liberty to add another gloss layer to it to make it look very shiny and slimy. Because as it was stock out of the box, it did have gloss on it, but it wasn't enough. So I went ahead and put more gloss on it. And then we move on to the alien egg, which is already open. It's really nice too, the paint apps and everything. As you can see, it's kind of attached to the floor. And you have the inside, and you can stick the facehugger in this egg, which is cool. And like I said before, I did add an extra layer of gloss to this egg to make it look slimy and shiny. So there you go. And this figure did come with its own base. Just like with the Blade Warrior figure that they made, the stand is a big block. A lot of elevation and a lot of space that's taken by that block. And then it has a metal nameplate on the front that says Flight Officer on it. But I want my figures to have their actual names on them, so that's why I got an original Hot Toys Alien Ripley base. Another reason why I got this base is because it does match with the Alien Warrior base, which is over there. So yeah, I won't be using that Present Toys base. I'm just going to keep it in the box. And that's it for the accessories. So it didn't come with the watch. We could have used another closed alien egg. It could have come with those flares that she used to escape the alien nest. So yeah, there's definitely accessories that this figure could have come with. So because of that, and because the weapons don't have no articulation at all, I'm going to have to give this category of accessories an 8 out of 10. Alright, so that does it for the accessories. Now we're going to add up the scores and wrap up this review. Alright, so to add up the scores and wrap up this review, this figure gets a 52 out of 60. So not too bad, but I will advise you guys that this Present Toys figure needs some serious modifications and customizations if you're planning on buying this figure, because stock out of the box, it's not very good. If you plan on displaying it with the rest of your collection, stock out of the box, it's going to be seriously out of scale. But the way I have it now, it's awesome. So here I have her posed in another scene from the movie at the end where she's trying to escape the alien hive. She's getting ready to toss her bandolier into the hive and blow it all up. Alright guys, so that's another review done and in the bag. Once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. And don't forget to ring the bell so you get notified of my latest videos. But until next time guys, I shall catch you all later on the tube. Alright, bye guys.